Kimberly Akimbo is the winner of 5 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. The show's in Chicago for 2 weeks only. Laura Woyasz, who plays Patty in the show, Kimberly's mom, here to chat all about it. Thank you so much for your time today.
Hi, thanks for having me. I can't wait to be in Chicago. We're there for 2 weeks. I'm so excited.
It's going to be awesome, and also in springtime, so it's almost a what
Yeah,
better time to come in the winter.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the show. I mean, growing up, a medical condition, your first love, a new home, so many things that so many people can relate to.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And first of all, that's what I have to, one of the things I love about the show is that people really relate to just these kind of normal family problems or, just this household in New Jersey. This family in New Jersey, they've just moved to New Jersey. The Kimberly is my daughter. I play Patty, the mom. Kimberly doesn't really know why we've moved there. We sort of did it in a hurry. So she's navigating a new school, a new crush, her parents who are, a little dysfunctional to say the least, a crazy aunt, making friends, and she has this rare genetic disorder where she ages 4 to 5 times faster than the average person. So she in the show is 16, but she looks much older and is played by an older actress, Carolee Carmello, who's, obviously Broadway royalty. And yeah, I think that there's so many, things in the show that people kind of say, oh, my family was like that, or I lived in New Jersey even, or just it's a very relatable human story. I love that aspect of it.
And also too, the older I get, obviously more farther removed from the coming of age stories, but you get to see it from like the parents' point of view, or you get to kind of go back to your own journey and just kind of say, is this something that I went through? And just I think people just love that those types of storylines.
I do too. And it takes place in the 90s, which is also kind of important. It's the late 90s, so it's before cell phones and before the internet really, and before the social media and just trying to like meet people in person and find out what's going on and where people are meeting and where, people hung out at the mall. So that's for me very nostalgic because,
Yeah.
I'm like a 90s kid, but yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah, oh, exactly. The role of Patty, her emotions, what she's going through, and also, connecting with her daughter, during this transitional time.
It's, I have to say, I love playing Patty. Um, I love that she's a flawed person, and I think that she's kind of misunderstood. I think that when you come to the show, you can sort of, the first on at first glance, she's sort of like, wow, she's kind of a bad mom, right? But I have compassion for Patty. I think that she's sort of like she doesn't know what she doesn't know. And that's also a very human thing to me. I mean, how many times have I done things and I'm like, oh, if I had known better, I would have done better, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, she does all these things, she's pregnant in the show. And you're sort of like, well, why would you have another baby if there's a risk that it might turn out like Kimberly? But I think in her mind, she knows that Kimberly is she'll outlive Kimberly and she really depends on her. And it's sort of like, well, I'll have another one and maybe this one will be better. So there's sort of a sad hope to her.
Yeah.
She's going to lose her daughter. And I think that fuels a lot of the reason and her behaviors and why she says things she says and does the things that she does. I think she's really trying to protect her own sadness and the pain of losing her daughter. It comes out in really bad ways, right? But she's like, well, if I have another baby, then maybe it'll work out, I'll be a better mom, but I don't think she's a bad person, a malicious person. I just think that she's like, doesn't know how to cope with all these things. And
And also too, I mean, not to bring it so much into the 90s, but also with the invention of the internet and support groups now and just those technologies that it's a very different time period of having those resources to maybe connect with other people in the same situation.
yeah, and I think, she's seeing her life. She was meant to be the prom queen and she wasn't. And then she had a daughter young and just life sort of happened and it didn't turn out the way she expected, which is also, how many people no one's life turns out the way we think it's very relatable. Yeah.
Wonderful. Some of the original Broadway cast is in the show. I mean, talk a little bit about maybe seeing it for the first time, reading the script for the first time, and connecting with this role.
So I saw it one and only time. And I was sitting way in the back, and I had such a strong reaction to the show. I was like, I was laughing out loud. I was crying. And the end, I remember like, I was like, I don't want it to end. I don't want the show to end. And I thought it was so powerful. And I just said, I need to be a part of this show because of how it impacted me. And that's the type of work I like to do. I like to do things that move people, that inspire people. And so I started working on the material independently. I didn't even have an audition. I had no idea if I would ever get an audition. I just said, if this ever comes around, I'm gonna be ready. And so I worked on it. I went back to voice lessons. I said, let me just learn all the songs. Or and then it kind of came around to audition for the understudy. And I said, I don't know if I want to go on tour and be an understudy. But then I said, well, you know what? You've been working on this stuff for so long. You just owe it to yourself. Just do it. And I did. And the feedback was that I wasn't really right to be the cover. But they keep me on file. And I was like, oh, okay, well, didn't get that. And then, a month went by or 6 weeks went by, and then they offered me the role. So, I wasn't right for the understudy, but they offered me the role. And here I was thinking, well, I didn't get it. It's going to be a couple years before I hear from them. I mean, I really was like, well, that didn't work out.
Yeah.
It was kind of a magical way that it all happened. So I just knew that I felt so strongly about the show and wanted to do it that I took it upon myself to just learn the music.
And I love that you manifested that for yourself, and then you also took those steps just to be ready in case that opportunity, came knocking at your door. And I'm just this that story is amazing. Is there a different type of excitement or pressure, with a show like this, especially winning so many awards that a lot of people, maybe didn't have the chance to go to New York, but they're excited for the show to come to their town? I mean, is there kind of extra butterflies? I mean, obviously you've been part of Wicked, which is also a lot of fans there as well too. So does that kind of prepare you for kind of stepping into something like this?
Yeah, I mean, I will say I don't feel a pressure type of thing. I think that this show is so special. I mean, it was a play first,
Yeah.
and it was a fully produced play off Broadway, and then, they put music and lyrics to it, David Lindsay Bear and Jenny Tesori. And uh, you know, I think that I think the pressure is people may or may not know the show. So I think a lot of people are like, what's the show about? What is it? Is it a kids show? They don't quite know what it is, which is surprising because it won so many awards. But a lot of
Yeah.
people say, oh, we just came for the first time. We didn't know anything about it. So that's sort of the pressure is the unknown, where people know Wicked, right? Um, and I think the people that know this show, they come back 10, 12 times. I mean, we had someone here already 3 times this week. She's like, I'm coming again. The people that know it are really diehard fans, but it's the people that don't quite know what it is that you're like, you want them to get into it and become
Yeah.
a fan, right? So
Well, I also love that, shows like this, shows like Shuck, that maybe don't have that history of like a Cats or a Phantom of the Opera that people have known for generations, but that get such a good word of mouth that
yeah,
people just love it and that they want to share it, and they're like, if the show's coming to your town, you need to go ahead and check it out. Like, I just love that there's these new shows that are coming out that people are connecting with.
me too. Me too. Yeah.
A quick moment here, talking about the role of Glinda in Wicked. I mean, obviously, with the movie coming out last year and the new one coming out, later this year, there's been a renewed interest. I mean, when you think about your time with that show, I mean, and just the longevity and the new generation of fans that are, just loving it.
It's pretty wild. If I really think about it, it's overwhelming that was a part of that. And I saw the show, the movie in the theater with the cast that I did Wicked with on Broadway. And it was sort of like, oh my God, just the music. We're just like, we all did this together. Like, we did this show, and we're all like in the movie theater watching this incredible, it couldn't be any more magical or beautiful. And then knowing how many people connected to that movie that hadn't seen the musical? I mean, I think I saw an Instagram post of these gentlemen in the army that they were doing the choreography to Loathing, and I was like, this is incredible how much people they needed that movie, and
Yeah.
and it just really connected, and I think that that is just a beautiful that art can do that, and to know that I was a small part of that is something that I will always cherish. I always love my time there, and always be really proud to have, you know, spent my time there. And it was like 5 years, so it was a while.
It was, and I love that you had the connection with the audience, with that show, and especially with this show as well too. I mean, it's a show that's connecting people, and make sure you go ahead and check it out. It's going to be here for 2 weeks in Chicago. Kimberly Akimbo, of course, that's what we're talking about. June 10th through the 22nd at the CIBC Theater. BroadwayChicago.com for those tickets, and we will see you in Chicagoland very, very soon.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.